Jill sandwich. That was too close. You were almost a Jill sandwich. Close. Jill sandwich. That was too.
Hello again, gamers. Do you like sugar mamas who put out, nuns who know how to fight and put out as well, and demon girlfriends who are toxic? Then have I got the anime for you. If you're interested, let's begin. There are two main plots to Engage Kiss. The main plot revolves around Shu giving up his memories to a demon girl named Kisara and fighting demons in order to find the truth about the death of his parents and his entire family. The other is about Shu and his relationships with his ex-girlfriends and his current partner, Kisara. Well, you don't even know who Shu and Kisara are, so let me explain who the characters are. There's four main characters: Shu Ogata, the main character, and the main boy the female characters fight over; Kisara, the multi-100-year-old Yandere girl who looks like a high schooler and does toxic shit to Shu's exes; Ayano Yugari, one of Shu's exes, turned sugar mama, an occasional friend with benefits; and finally Sharon Holygirl, the titular slutty nun, whom Shu had a relationship with and used basically to capture Kisara. Oh yeah, also that's the nun that he put poison on his dick and put it inside of her, so there's that. These relationships and how they interact are the best part of Engage Kiss. The way Sharon and Ayano talk to Shu when they're alone is full of sexual tension, and really helps solidify the idea that these characters have actually had a relationship at some point, and have had sex at some point. These relationships being so well done shed a huge light on one of the elements I had such a problem with when watching and then rewatching the later parts of this series. But let's get to the main plot. After the first 3 episodes, Engage Kiss goes from being a Demon of the Week type of show to a mix of a rom-com slice-of-life anime and police procedural, not unlike SVU. The 4th episode is when the Demon Squad... the Anti-Demon Bureau gets introduced, and we meet this guy. We also find out they're investigating a possible link between the various demon incidents so far. First, they suspect the head of an MLM company, because he's the head of an MLM company. Of course he's fucking evil. But when he turns up dead, they decide to look into where Shu's been getting his information from, since the information he keeps getting is basically only an insider could know. They come to find it's some random annoying character from the first episode, who's not only Shu's informant, but also the head of the police agency, essentially. Once they find this out, Shu goes to go talk to Sharon, who's in jail after smuggling a tentacle suit into the country and fighting and losing to Kisara. While speaking to Sharon, we find out that the only person who could be orchestrating this is a man named Miles Morgan. And here we get to the part that I don't like about Engage Kiss. Before we move on to stuff that I don't particularly like, let's talk about some of the questions I had when I was watching this show. One of them was, if Kisara takes Shu's memories and remembers them from his point of view, does that mean that whenever she sees Sharon, like she remembers everything about like the sexual encounters they used to have? And same thing with Ayano, like if that's the case, then like does she look at them and just like, I remember what it tasted like, or what the fuck? I've always been curious about that. It's just some random fucking thought. I was also curious, like, who designed these characters? Because, like, I don't really do this very often in anime, but whenever it is that it comes to who is it that I would want to get with, like if I was single and I was in this anime, most people would say Kisara, but no, that bitch is toxic. But if I was a broke motherfucker, who I would want to get with would be Ayano's mom, because, well, that's where the money's at, and also, just look at her.
Oh yeah, you just know she likes it dirty.
I'm not a hard man to please, especially whenever it comes to a 13-episode, one-core anime. I understand that there's not going to be much in terms of story, there never really is. All I need to keep me happy when it comes to these types of animes is some good action sequences, and some funny character interactions. That's basically it. That's why I liked the character relationship so much in this show. I mean, the crazy shit that Kisara does alone is what makes this anime worth watching. Because of the huge focus on the relationships and their development, the lack of attention to the relationship between Shu and Miles makes episode 9 hit so weird. And this mainly revolves around episode 8 and 9. The rest of the show I don't really have much of a problem with, since it's only those episodes that really matter, and those are the only episodes that really focus on Miles as a character and Miles in relation to Shu and things of that nature. The rest of the series is basically just focused on the ending. This demon thing gets involved called Asmundus.
Mundus.
Mighty is the power of Mundus.
And basically he doesn't matter anymore. So that's why, like, not only did he not matter in the later half, even though they gave all of the bad shit that happened throughout this entire show so far to him, whenever he did matter, they basically brushed over his story. But anyway, that Demon Bureau guy that I can't even fucking remember the name of, I think his name was Mikami, his death hits harder. And he had no relation to Shu up until he was introduced in episode 4 or whatever. He was only in the show for like 3 or 4 episodes, and his death had more weight than fucking the only person who's the closest thing to Shu's remaining family. But let me get into some more detail. Miles technically makes his appearance, I think, at the end of the first episode, but you actually get to see Shu interact with him in episode 2 when they're having a smoke in the designated smoking area at their post, while they wait for the terroristic demon that they're there to apprehend to try to kill the mayor. From there on, he continues to appear in the background as the first officer on the scene of essentially every demon hazard situation, which, it's another thing, it wasn't that big of a surprise to know that he was going to be the main bad guy in the end, just based off of this one piece of information alone. So you would think that being that Miles is in the show so often that they'd have a conversation at some point, but no. The only conversation Miles ever really has with anybody is reminding the audience and the person he happens to be talking to about the fact that he raised Shu for about a year, and that's it. And we don't even know about it in detail until episode 9, after he's already been killed by Kisara and Shu. I rewatched it multiple times. There was no time, aside from whenever he gives Shu a pack of cigarettes because he knows that he's broke, that he ever does anything remotely father figurely, or whatever, if that's even a fucking word. This makes his death pretty uneventful, and it kind of makes what the past couple episodes have been building up to kind of, like it wasn't that big of a deal type of thing. And that's the only thing that kind of sucks. Mostly episode 8 and 9. I mean, whenever they're investigating and seeing how all these things are tying together, it's interesting. It doesn't stop being interesting just because I know that it's Miles. But now we get to the part where I let you know whether or not it's worth watching. I highly recommend Engage Kiss for anybody who's looking for an anime that's easy to watch, doesn't really have too much difficult shit to expand upon. It's pretty on its surface type of thing. It was a fun ride and had a lot of very good action sequences, and very well done sexually charged conversations between two people who have actually had sex. And for those who haven't seen this show, there actually is technically a sex scene. I liked it well enough that I actually made a short AMV of. So if you haven't checked that out yet, please go check it out. If you're a fan of generic slice of life animes with an old school feel, in terms of the slice of life antics kind of take precedence over the actual plot, I think you'll like this show. It doesn't work well whenever it is that it tries to be a police procedural, but it's not that big of a deal because police procedural part is literally just there to lead you to the ending, much like an actual police procedural. And the ending is good. It ends with presumably Shu getting killed by all of the different women in his life. I highly recommend it. I think you should check it out. Thanks for listening to me ramble. And if you stayed to the very end, please remember to subscribe. And here's a sneak peek of what I've been working on since October.